What is up, guys? I'm back. Long time no see. It's actually Wednesday. It's been several days since I've posted a video. We're coming off of a long weekend. It was actually Easter weekend this past weekend, so I had a long weekend. Plus, I actually came down with a sickness on Sunday evening and actually stayed out of work on Monday and Tuesday of this week. So I didn't do a video either day. And you know, I was laying there the other night thinking about what I was gonna say when I did this video, and I'm gonna tell you what I mean by that. I haven't taken any MITs. It's been a little over a month now since I've bought an MIT, but I also have not stuck to my taper. And what I mean by that is I've taken every opportunity on the weekend to, you know, run up to the kava bar with my wife, get some kava drinks. You know, we had a long weekend. So I went there a couple of different times and got some Kratom drinks, and was even given they have a drink there called the Crush, which is actually a mixture of kava and Kratom. And I asked them about, you know, how I would go about making those at home, because I really liked the drink. And you know, he said that they could actually give you some of the Kratom and the kava powder, that you can make your own drink at home. I was like, cool, that's nice. You know, I'll take one of those in the evening. I've been having trouble sleeping as I've been tapering anyway, so I'll take one of those in the evening. They ended up putting it in a baggie for me, and the guy then informs me that it's the Kratom portion of it is actually extract, Kratom extract. So here I am starting a YouTube channel about Kratom extract, how horrible it is and how you need to stay away from it and all that stuff, and how I'm tapering off of Kratom powder. And I completely broke that this weekend, meaning I not only got some Kratom extract powder to make those drinks with, but I didn't stick to a taper. When I finished up last week around Thursday, throughout the week I had cut myself down to about 6.5 grams of Kratom powder during the week, which is less than 10 capsules of just regular Kratom powder in one day. And I hadn't been sleeping that well. You know, I admit I was struggling with it some in terms of some slight withdrawals, especially at nighttime. But I definitely had been cutting down a lot. So that's where I was at this past Thursday. Well, you know, after a 3-4 day bender on Kratom, and then being off of work for a couple of days, when I was off of work and I stayed home, I was, you know, doing more Kratom than I had been when I was working. So, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty disappointed with myself. And you know, there was no way I was gonna come on here and lie to you guys. And you know, I could have easily come on here and you know, put on a fake face and say, yeah, I'm still kicking it, guys, I'm down to 6.5 grams and tapering. You know, I could have done that, but then who would I be? What would I be doing? What would I be accomplishing? You know, sitting there and lying to a bunch of folks that I've never even met on a personal level. And you know, plus when it comes to recovery and improving on something like coming off of Kratom or any other sort of opiate based substance, you know, the whole point is to be truthful, and the whole point is to be honest first and foremost with yourself, and then also the people around you. Now, again, my wife, who is my partner and who is the one that I share all my finances with and stuff like that, she knows everything about me, and she knows that it's a struggle, and I never go and buy something that she doesn't know about. That has to do with Kratom or anything else for that matter. She knows everything that I do, so I'm being completely honest about that, but with her about that. But that doesn't take away the fact that if it's a problem, it's a problem. And if I have identified my Kratom use as a problem, then it's become obvious to me over the past couple of weekends that, am I really taking it that serious? So that's kind of where I'm at. Am I at a point where I'm ready to really make a change with it? Or am I going to just accept that, I'm probably just going to keep taking this stuff? I may never come off of it. That's where it gets dicey for me, because I don't want to feel controlled by anything. I want to feel like I'm in control of my life, not that something or some substance is controlling me. And that's where it gets dicey for me. And it's funny because I go to this it's what's called a kava bar that I've been speaking about. It's only about 10-15 minutes away from my house, and my wife enjoys going as well. The difference is my wife doesn't have a problem with Kratom. She's one of those people that can just kind of take it or leave it. And as far as any substance she prefers, she's good with just having a couple of drinks, in the evenings or on the weekends or whatever. And she never drinks to the point where, she has any sort of physical withdrawals associated with not drinking. And she never takes Kratom enough to where she has any physical withdrawals associated with not taking Kratom. She can go a day, 2 days, 3 days without taking any Kratom, and she has no issues whatsoever. Whereas I am not in that situation. I've definitely been taking Kratom long enough, consistently enough, on a daily basis. And again, I don't consider myself to be a person that just takes an astronomical amount of it. I don't. But again, I'm not, I can't be here to pat myself on the back, because obviously I started this channel because I see the Kratom use as a problem for me. How it affects my family and I think that for the most part is minimal. I try not to let it, and in my mind's eye, it's helping, because it helps me to be, my mood be more even keel, stuff like that. Helps me to be more sociable, talkative with my family. And the way I look at it is, it's keeping me away from being depressed and my mood being down and stuff like that. But the problem is, to concede to that is to concede to the fact that, or be resigned to the fact that, okay, am I just going to continue doing this forever? Am I going to continue doing it forever? And it's funny because this Kratom bar that I'm talking about, we've gone there several times, and everyone there is really nice. I like the folks there a lot. We struck up some really, really good conversations with some very interesting people while there. But the more I've gone recently, it's funny because when I was taking the MITs, I never went to this Kratom bar, ever. Now that I'm not on the MITs anymore, I'm kind of using an excuse. You know, I'm finding a reason to go there. You know, we get up in the morning, we do our chores, we clean, we do our laundry, mow the lawn, anything that we have to do around the house that we don't have time to do during the week, we do it on Saturday. And grocery shopping is something that we do on Saturdays as well. My wife and I always go out together, and you know, we do a few hours of grocery shopping. And that's kind of my, and this is the way I've justified it to myself, that's kind of my reward to myself for completing another week, finishing another week of work. You know, we've gotten up, done all our chores, done everything that we need to do for that Saturday, and now what? Let's go have a couple of Kratom drinks, let's get to feeling good, and then let's go to the grocery store and let's have a good rest of the day. And it's just been kind of something that I've allowed myself to do and get into. But anyway, I keep getting sidetracked. I digress. So I've met a lot of good people there, and there's a couple of people there, you know, that are older individuals. And as I've started to go more recently, I've noticed that no matter what time of day that I go there, whether it's okay, this past week I was off work on Friday because it was Good Friday. My company actually, we took that off as a holiday. So we actually went on Friday afternoon, which I never go to the Kratom bar on Friday afternoon. I'm always working on Fridays. So we go there, and I notice that I see the same couple of people every time that I go, including on Friday afternoon. And I'm thinking, you know, and I know one of the guys, and I'm not going to say anyone's name, but one of the guys, you know, he looks to be probably mid to late 60s gentleman, and very nice, very friendly guy. But literally every time I've gone to this Kratom bar, this guy is there. He just hangs out there. Literally, this guy just hangs out at the Kratom bar and has Kratom drinks all day. And again, not judging this guy, and I'm not putting myself above him, because I've already shared, you know, what my clear struggles with Kratom are. But I look at someone like that, you know, he's probably 20 years my senior, and I look at someone like that and I think, wonder what this guy was doing when he was my age. Wonder what he was doing 20 years ago. You know, was he hooked on pills like I was 20 years ago? Was he an alcoholic, and, you know, since he's stopped drinking, you know, now he's filled that void of alcohol with Kratom now? You know, what's it? And the next question I have to ask myself is that going to be me in 20 years? And based on lately, I really don't know. I really don't know. And, you know, again, this is one of those things where, and you guys can probably tell I'm a little down, I'm a little, I wouldn't say depressed, and I am still, I'm taking Kratom. You know, I've had probably 7 or 8 grams already today, and it's only 12:30, because I went 3-4 straight days taking a pretty large amount. So, you know, I'm trying to, and then I was sick for a couple of days. I want to make sure my first day going back to work that I'm on point, that I feel decent. So, you know, again, I've come off of the taper, and I've, you know, jacked my dosage back up again. And I did something very similar this past weekend. You guys can probably tell I'm down a little bit about it. And here's the thing. If I resign myself to say, you know what, it's who I am, I'm good with my Kratom use, and you know what, forget it. I'm just going to make the best of it. I'm going to take it, try to be as responsible about it as I can, you know, try to mix in a lot of healthy attributes with it, continue eating healthy, continue exercising, you know, continue drinking tons of water, do all those things, and I'm just going to be a Kratom user. Is what I'm going to do. If I resign to that and I label myself that, and that's who I am, that's what I do, then all of this goes away. You know, this channel goes away. My feelings of disappointment and kind of sorrow about the fact that I'm continuing to backslide, all that goes away. You know, I've accepted it. Hey, just as long as I don't ever stop taking Kratom, I'm good. You know, no issues, no withdrawal, no anything. But again, you know, something for me doesn't feel right in here with that. And I feel like a lot of you probably understand that feeling. You know, I'm sure all of you probably understand that feeling. But you know, again, I talked about the other day the different schools of thought on this. And I will say, a lot of people think, you know, NA, AA, you know, those are the only ways, that's the only way that you're going to be able to put down something like this and completely get off of it altogether. I've never felt that way. And, you know, and you can go to NA and AA and you can be sober for 6 years and then have a relapse. People do it all the time while going to AA, while going to NA. And that's not just an excuse. I really feel that way. I don't think that NA or AA in and of itself, or the work that you do in AA or NA, is an end-all be-all, you know, resolution for staying sober and staying clean. And furthermore, I don't know that I want to be completely sober and clean. I would like to be to the point where if I want to go a few days, 3, 4, 5 days, 6 days without taking any Kratom, I would love to be at a point where I'm not going through withdrawals when I'm doing that. And I know that in order to do that, I'm going to have to taper down and get to a point where I'm completely off of it. Completely off of it. At least, you know, for a week or two. I have to get completely free and clear of it. Sleeping normally, you know, not having any physical side effects or withdrawals from it. I'm going to have to get to that point before I can get to a point where, you know, I can just take it every once in a while and be okay with it. But, you know, again, the NA, AA school of thought is, you know, that's your flawed thinking. That there is your flawed thinking. Here you are thinking that you can control it. Why would you think that you can control it? And, you know, that may be a very valid statement, to be honest. And maybe I can't. But I'm not going to AA right now in my life. I'm not going to NA. I already know I'm not. So I have to do something. And I've backslidden a little bit the past couple of weekends. And I've taken a few back steps, but I'm trying not to get down on myself about that. And, you know, I'm not going to say it's okay, but I'm not resigned to just allowing myself to continue to take the Kratom and continue to increase my dose. And I'm not resigned to allowing that to happen. And the backsliding has not caused me to be resigned to that and to have given into it. I'm still pushing forward. I'm still pushing forward. But I just want to be honest with you guys, and I want to say this too. I wouldn't say it's ignorance as much as naivety, being naive. And what I mean by that is, I have found that it is infinitely harder to stay clean off of something that is completely legal, okay? Because I shared the story about when I came off of Percocets and Vicodins. You know, I had one source for those things, or one steady source that was feasible for me, and that was a prescription from a doctor. And you know, I told the story about how I knew they were killing me, and I was afraid I was going to die in my sleep. That's how many of these things I was taking, and how I prayed about it, and God put his hand on me, and I actually wrote a letter to my doctor saying, hey, I am addicted to the painkillers that you have been prescribing me. Please do not prescribe me any more painkillers. I am abusing them. And after that was done, after that supply chain was severed, you know, I had really no other way to get them at that point. You can't just drop into a local head shop and pick up Percocet. You can't, you know. And yeah, I could have tried to maybe go get some on the street or whatever, but at that point in my life, I had severed it, and I was not about to go, you know, and I couldn't afford to go and pay the amount to try to get those on the streets. And plus the withdrawals were so hellish that I was not about to go there again. So and in order to try to get some, you know, I would have had to go to these long, lengthy doctor visits, try to come up with some story as to why I'm trying to score some pills and this and that. And it's just, it was one of those things that without that source of that doctor writing me a regular monthly prescription, it just became, you know, too much of a hassle, for lack of a better word, for me to continue trying to use them. And it made it to where I made it for myself really hard to get a hold of them. I did that on purpose because I knew I needed help. I knew that was the only way that I was going to be able to stop taking them. But with Kratom, I can't do that. And I'm finding it infinitely harder, you know, because you can't go to a head shop and say, hey, don't sell me any more of these. They're not going to do that. You know, the next time somebody else is working and you come in and try to buy some Kratom or an MIT, or if you go to the Kava bar and try to order a Kratom drink, they're going to serve you. If you have the money, they're going to serve you. They're a business. They're not in the morality business. They're in the money business, and they want your money. So I am finding it infinitely harder to steer completely clear of something like Kratom if you decide that you want to come off of it. And you know, I think that's a little bit of naivety on my part. My thought process of, I can quit Percocets, I know I can put down Kratom, because Kratom's not nearly as bad. Well, you know, yeah, maybe, but it's also all about perspective. And what I am coming to learn, that it's because it is so readily available, it actually makes it more of a challenge to come off of and stay off of something like Kratom. But hey, I backstepped again. I want to be honest with you guys about that. You know, I'll probably end up taking, I don't know, 12, 13 grams of Kratom again today. My sleep is still being affected. You know, I'm going to have to get to a point where I'm stick to the taper and completely come down off of the Kratom. I'm going to have to get to that point if I'm going to be able to move forward at all after that, and going to be able to come completely off of it without having any sort of side effects and withdrawals. And if you want to follow the journey, please continue to do that. Don't think less of me. I know a lot of you out there still taking Kratom. Some of you are trying to, you know, cut down your dosages or come off of it, or come off of extracts. You know, I've spoken to some of you guys about it. So seeing what the struggle that I'm going through, if anything, I want you guys to see that and respect it and realize how difficult it really is, and use it as strength. You know, if you see me doing well, use that as strength, as inspiration to achieve your own goals as far as Kratom or coming off of it. If you see me struggling, if you see me doing well, use that as fuel, use that as fire to understand how difficult and devastating an addiction to something like this can be, and use that as fuel to do better yourself. You know, still moving forward, still putting one foot in front of the other. I'm down, but I'm not out, and I'm gonna keep moving along. So follow my journey. Thank you guys for listening. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you've not, and I will see you next time. Peace.